G'day folks, it's springtime. It's time to dig that old tiller out that's been sitting for months and months and a day. Put it back to work, get that vegetable garden going. We got one here on the table today. This is a country line, basic little old digger, powered by a little Kohler engine. We're just gonna give it a quick little once over. Hey, what you been watching on the YouTube? Me? I've been watching Backwoods boys' small engines. Let's give the boy some support. He's putting it out there. I'm enjoying it. Check him out. I'm gonna put the link to Backwoods boys' small engines down below. I know he'd appreciate your support, as I do. Hey, let's get into this thing and see what's going on. There she is, little tiller machine. Got a little Kohler power on it. Went ahead and popped that air filter off, see what we're looking at. Let's see how she runs. How does that choke work? Should crank right up. I'm not suspicious this to run better, crank better anyway. Maybe not run, seem to be okay. A little stumble. I'd sure like for it to crank easier and just run it. Maybe reach in here and choke it. See that? Like the choke don't quite. Gotta pull on it to get it. So clean it up a little bit, get that oil change out of it. And before I pull that carburetor off and give it a little cleaning, hopefully we get it cranked a little easier. You got a little heat in that motor from testing it. I'm gonna go and get my oil out. Woo! Get that thing draw down, son. Let that sit. There it comes. That's the end of it. You ain't got you an oil sucker, get you one. If you can't get you one, make you one. All right. Got me some good motor oil back in there. Let's see where we're at on that dipstick. Usually if I can see it in there on this style engine, any of these type engines, I don't care who made it, you're usually on the money. Alright, let's move on. Snatch that carburetor off, give her a little cleaning. See if we can straighten her out and get her to run a little bit. At this point, I got my fresh motor oil in there. Let's go ahead and get this carburetor pulled off here. Clean her up. And it did run. But it was hard to crank even after you got it running and let it run for a moment. It's like the choke is also giving me an issue as far as not being able to pull the butterfly over far enough on its own. Maybe it just needs a good cleaning. We're gonna have to try to do it without tearing anything up now, because we got none of this. We ain't got none of this. Let's see what we gotta do to get him off of here. I cut that fuel off. I shouldn't have any in that line. So let's get the fuel line off. Let's pull out. Try not to break that gasket on the back side. Ooh, she wants to. Stay with it. Pull it out partially, the carburetor, and then you can pick up on that linkage. And then you can pull your spring out together, one at a time, not together. Now, then, look at that. Ta-da! Let's give that thing a cleaning up. Let me give it a little air bath. We'll crack it open, see what's inside. The air didn't do much for it. It's still pretty nasty. Let's go ahead and get that bowl off of it. Now, I do get comments. Sometimes folks want to know what size wrench I use for this, what size wrench I use for that. I use the one what fits. I suggest you dig through your little toolkit, you find one that you're happy with fitting, and don't take nobody else's word for what size fits what. The one on my particular bowl was a 10 millimeter. I got a little bit of trash down in there, rust. What is it? Let's find out. That's a little sediment down there in the bottom. We're gonna clean that up. But other than that, she ain't looking too bad. We'll go ahead and get this float pin out. If that needle will float up. They look good to me. I like this gasket they're using. It's not a black one. It looks like it's holding up real well. I think I can get it out and reuse it. How nice that's coming out. Yeah. I have battled with these things. Didn't have one to put in it. I wanted to make sure I got it. This one right here looks good. Watch it be the one. It will not go back in. Sat there and swole up on me. Let's get that jet out. My handy dandy special jet removing tool here. Just a good flat blade. It's almost coming out. There it is, all up. I want to clean that hole up. Focus, you rascal. Focus, focus, focus. There's a hole in the middle, y'all. Take my word on it. We want to clean him up a little better. We're also going to take this emulsion tube and clean him up through the center and catch every one of these little holes here on the side. Let me get my special tool for that. I like a guitar string. I like to take it. It usually fits anywhere I need it to go. Get him loosened up down in there. We'll blow him out with a little carburetor cleaner. And we're going to do the same thing with the emulsion tube. Up through the middle. And then catch every hole on this side. All the way through. From one side to the other. Clean them up. You might be able to see through them. I don't care. Put something through it. I don't know what it is. You can hold it up to the light. It'll look like you can see through it. By golly, it makes a difference when you take time to just run that wire through it. Doggone you. I done poke myself with it, made me bleed. Rather than doing a full ultrasonic cleaning, I sprayed it down with some of this old cheap carburetor cleaner and blowed it off, wiped it off. It looked pretty good. We're gonna run with it like that because it didn't look that bad on the inside. I'm gonna put it back together. I'm gonna start with my emulsion tube. Next, I'm gonna take that jet. I'm gonna drop him down in there and make sure it's flush. This is not something you want to cross thread. Make sure it sits down in there nice and smooth. Run that down until you feel it touch. And just give it a kiss. You ain't trying to tighten up a lug nut. Now, just nice and soft. We're going to put our bowl back in. Our bowl. We're going to put our float back in. Get my little pin back in here. Now, get that gasket. The gasket still look good. I don't know what material that's made out of. Instead of black, it's kind of green. Grayish green. And I like the way that's set back down in there. This needs got these little ears you want to help seat it down in there. Now that we've got that on, we're ready for our bowl. Pay attention to what side your drain was. It's always good trying to put it back the way you found it. We'll put our bolt, put our nut. We'll just put this all back together. Call it what you want to call it. That should be that. You'll remember we had to pull that forward to get that first linkage going. So this would be your choke linkage. I'll start with that. Once we get him started up on there, we can work our way back. Now we'll grab about halfway back on the studs. We can take that throttle linkage, drop him in, and go ahead and get our spring. Just grab that little hole. Bingo. Go ahead and get it back on. Get all the way on too. That's a little more better. Let's try that. Let's see what I'm talking about. You got this piece on the throttle that your choke linkage rides through. And as you push it forward, when it gets to a certain point, it's moving the choke over. But it appears as though Z-bend is, that's where that piece on that throttle linkage catches right there at this point, and now we'll close the choke. But it looks like over time, you're having to push it too far, and it has bent that. So we're just gonna take and get a little bent, gain a little ground to what it's lost over time. Let's see how that feels. That feels even worse. It's not. Now, I like that more better. Now, that notch right there, choke's closed. This thing's headed back out to the garden, I know. Let me make sure I don't put this on backwards. Because I'm about to put it on backwards. There it is. Gotta figure it out. I didn't have nobody to ask. I had to figure that all by my doggone self. And put that tube on the back. Now I'm ready to get my two nuts back on here and check this thing, see will it bust off by its lonesome. There you go. All right. Low throttle, that shuts it off. That's my high, and therein lies my choke. I don't see no fuel leaks yet, so crank it. Turned out to be pretty simple. Little quick carburetor cleaning. I'm gonna get him a new spark plug and throw it in there. I ain't had the right one, but other than that, that's a springtime service. Did check that fluid in the gearbox, we're good. Hey, I appreciate you checking my old video out this week, and you would once again check my buddy out over here. Backwoods boy, small engines. Give him a looking at it too. Hey, till next week. Well, that's a lie. Until we meet again.